The unseen threat. The deep silence of space was shattered when Earth's sensors picked up something strange. At first, it seemed like a glitch, an error that would be forgotten by the next scan. But when the same data appeared again, it was clear, something was out there, something big, moving toward Earth. For hours, the signals continued to pulse in deep space, moving closer with frightening speed. The readings were unlike anything Earth had ever seen. A fleet, thousands of ships, all heading directly for the planet. Their intentions were unknown, but their size, their numbers, it was clear that this wasn't a routine visit. This was an invasion. Panic quickly spread across the world's governments. The world had never faced an enemy like this. Military leaders and politicians scrambled for answers, but they had no idea who the enemy was, what they wanted, or how to stop them. The ships were still far from Earth, but the clock was ticking. Every passing moment brought them closer to the planet, closer to the unknown threat. In the control rooms, experts worked tirelessly to track the fleet's movements. The ships didn't communicate, they didn't send any warning signals. They just kept coming, their path a straight line toward Earth. It was as if they already knew the planet was their target. As Earth's leaders watched the enemy grow larger on their screens, they realized something: they were outmatched. In the midst of the chaos, a quiet voice spoke up from the shadows of Earth's Space Command. The voice was calm, almost eerily so. "We have a plan," the commander said, looking at the images of the incoming enemy fleet. No one had expected this. Earth had always been vulnerable, unprepared for any major invasion from space. But there was something most didn't know: there was a force that had been kept a secret, a hidden fleet that could rival even the most powerful armies in the galaxy. A fleet built not by politicians or generals, but by a group of Earth's finest minds, working quietly for decades, preparing for the day when Earth would need to defend itself. The fleet wasn't just a collection of warships, it was a symbol of human determination, ingenuity, and survival. It had been hidden in the farthest reaches of the solar system, out of sight from prying eyes, waiting for the right moment. And now, that moment had arrived. As the enemy fleet continued its steady advance, Earth's leaders knew that the battle would be like nothing they had ever seen. The alien force was large, perhaps even unbeatable. But Earth had something they didn't: the element of surprise. In the quiet darkness of space, something began to stir. The fleet that had been hidden for so long was finally waking up. Powerful engines roared to life, sending ripples through the void. The first ship of Earth's fleet broke through the shadow of the moon, its sleek, black design glistening in the faint light of distant stars. More ships followed, one after another, emerging from their hiding places like a predator preparing to strike. Earth had always been underestimated by the galaxy. The human race was small, its technology once thought to be primitive compared to other advanced civilizations. But what the aliens didn't know was that Earth had been preparing for this day for a long time. The battle was about to begin. The enemy, still unaware of Earth's hidden armada, continued their approach. They were confident in their strength, certain that no one could stop them. But as they moved closer to Earth's orbit, the tables were about to turn. The countdown had started, and Earth's hidden fleet was ready. With each passing second, the fear of the unknown faded, replaced by the realization that humanity wasn't as helpless as the aliens thought. In fact, they were about to face a force unlike any they had ever encountered before. The first contact between Earth and the alien invaders was only moments away. And when Earth's fleet appeared on the horizon, the enemy would have no idea what was coming for them. Humanity's secret armada. The massive enemy fleet continued to draw closer, a dark shadow on the horizon. Earth's defenses, though strong, were nowhere near enough to stop an invasion of this scale. The world held its breath as the first wave of alien ships entered Earth's atmosphere. But what they didn't know, what no one had anticipated, was the fleet lying in wait, hidden and ready. The Earth Defense Command had kept this secret for years, an idea born out of fear and necessity. The alien fleet had no idea that the moment they crossed into Earth's orbit, they would face humanity's most powerful weapon, one that had been built in total silence, far from the public eye. The ships were enormous, far beyond anything humanity had ever seen, yet they were sleek, deadly, and efficient. From the dark side of the moon, Earth's fleet began to assemble. First, there were just a few ships, then more, hundreds, rising from hidden underground docks and secret space stations. These ships weren't just designed for battle, they were built to be Earth's last hope, a symbol of humanity's determination and ingenuity. Each vessel was a masterpiece of human engineering, bristling with advanced weapons and shields, designed to take down the most powerful foes in the universe. The enemy fleet, confident in their overwhelming numbers, moved toward Earth's atmosphere, still unaware of the force that was silently waiting for them. But soon, their arrogance would be their downfall. In the control room, Earth's leaders watched as their fleet powered up. Thousands of miles away, the first ship to emerge from the shadows sent a ripple through the atmosphere. The massive warship's engines roared to life, sending vibrations through space. The rest of Earth's fleet followed suit, each ship flickering into existence, hidden no more. The ships were so large, their forms barely visible against the stars, yet they moved with an eerie grace. They were far more advanced than anything Earth had ever known. The alien invaders were still unaware of the impending battle, thinking they had already won. But as Earth's fleet powered up their weapons, the reality of the situation began to settle in. The aliens were not facing a planet they could easily conquer, they were facing humanity's greatest weapon. The commander of Earth's fleet, Admiral Sarah Hayes, stood before the massive control panels, her eyes glued to the screens. She had spent years preparing for this day, and now it was finally here. Her voice, steady and calm, rang through the room. Activate shields. Prepare all weapon systems. Let them know we're not as weak as they think. As the fleet's weapons came online, a hum of energy filled the control room. The massive ships shifted into battle positions, their weapons aimed at the approaching alien forces. The alien fleet, still unaware, continued its slow march toward Earth, as though victory was certain. But Admiral Hayes knew better. She had watched these ships grow from a dream into a deadly reality. These were not just Earth's defenses, they were humanity's statement to the galaxy: no one would ever threaten Earth again without facing its full wrath. The alien ships began to draw closer, their weapons glowing menacingly. Earth's fleet responded with a powerful pulse of energy, launching the first wave of counterattacks. The beam of light shot across space, striking the closest alien ships, sending them into a fireball of twisted metal and debris. The alien fleet was momentarily stunned, not understanding what had just happened. Prepare for the next wave, Admiral Hayes ordered. One by one, Earth's ships released a barrage of energy blasts, their shields glowing bright as they absorbed the enemy's fire. But the aliens quickly realized they had underestimated humanity. Their weapons, once thought to be superior, couldn't match the sheer power and precision of Earth's fleet. It was clear now, Earth was fighting back, and they weren't going down without a fight. As the alien ships tried to regroup, Earth's fleet moved in. With every shot fired, humanity's warships pushed forward, forcing the invaders to retreat. Each strike sent shockwaves through space, and the enemy, once so confident in their numbers, began to falter. The aliens had no idea what they were up against. They thought they could intimidate a world that had never fought in space. But they were about to learn a valuable lesson. Earth might have been a small, vulnerable planet, but it was far from defenseless. With every passing second, the tide of battle shifted in humanity's favor. The enemy fleet, now under attack from all sides, began to scatter. They were no longer the aggressors, they were the ones being hunted. In the heat of battle, Admiral Hayes stood firm. Her eyes never left the screen. She knew that this was only the beginning. But one thing was certain, humanity's fleet was here, and the galaxy would never look at Earth the same way again. The first clash. The battle had started, but the true test was just beginning. Earth's fleet, though powerful, was outnumbered. The alien ships, still reeling from the unexpected assault, quickly regrouped. They formed an organized line, their massive ships hovering in perfect formation, ready to strike back. Admiral Sarah Hayes watched in silence as her fleet moved into position. They had the element of surprise, but now they had to prove that humanity's might could stand against the alien onslaught. Her eyes narrowed as she issued the command. Lock onto their lead ships. Target their engines. Disable them. A series of clicks and beeps filled the room as the fleet's targeting systems locked on to the alien ships. The first salvo of energy blasts erupted from Earth's ships, cutting through the cold void of space. The beams of light streaked toward the alien vessels, their force enough to shake even the most advanced shields. The enemy fleet wasn't prepared for this. In an instant, the lead alien ship's engines exploded in a burst of blue and green light, sending it tumbling into space. The ship's demise sent shockwaves through the rest of the fleet, but they quickly recovered, returning fire with a barrage of lasers and energy pulses. The battle was no longer one-sided. The enemy had begun to fight back with everything they had, launching a storm of destructive energy in all directions. Yet, Earth's fleet was ready. Every shot fired, every defensive measure taken, was a testament to humanity's years of preparation. Their shields held strong, deflecting the alien blasts with ease, while their weapons remained relentless, tearing through the alien formations one ship at a time. The aliens were fast, but Earth's ships were faster. They moved with precision, darting between enemy fire and striking from unexpected angles. The battle wasn't just about power, it was about strategy. And humanity had learned that lesson well. Every ship in Earth's fleet was equipped with advanced AI, making them not just warriors but brilliant tacticians. Brace for impact, Hayes ordered, as the enemy's main fleet began to close in. A sudden barrage of enemy fire slammed into one of Earth's ships, shaking it violently. The ship's exterior flared with energy as its shields absorbed the incoming damage. Inside, alarms blared as the crew scrambled to maintain control. But despite the damage, the ship's weapons remained active, firing back in a furious response. Target their flanks, Hayes barked. We need to push them back. The next wave of fire from Earth's ships was unlike anything the alien fleet had ever seen. Streams of concentrated energy lanced out, striking the alien ships at their most vulnerable points. One by one, the enemy ships began to fall, their engines sparking and sputtering as they lost power. In the chaos, entire sections of their fleet were wiped out in a matter of moments. Yet, for all their power, Earth's fleet wasn't invincible. The aliens began to adapt, regrouping, and changing their tactics. They sent in smaller, faster vessels to attack Earth's warships from behind, launching surprise attacks that tested the defensive lines. One of the smaller alien ships streaked past Earth's defenses, unleashing a deadly missile barrage. The explosion rocked the ship, sending tremors through its hull. But the crew, ever determined, fought back with everything they had. Weapon systems fired, launching devastating blasts at the alien attackers, ripping through their small fleet. This isn't over yet, Hayes said, her voice calm but focused. The battle had taken a turn, but she knew her fleet was still in control. The aliens had learned that Earth's military was not to be underestimated, but they would learn just how far humanity's resolve could go. In the midst of the chaos, one of Earth's larger ships, the Vanguard, broke through the fray. It moved forward with unstoppable force, its massive energy cannons charged and ready. The Vanguard was humanity's pride, a ship built not just for battle, but for sending a message: Earth would never bow down to any force, no matter how powerful. As the Vanguard fired its energy cannons, the shock waves from its blasts sent ripples through space. The alien ships in its path evaporated, consumed by the sheer power of the attack. The aliens, once so confident, now found themselves struggling to maintain their ground. The remaining alien ships hesitated, confusion spreading across their ranks. They had never faced an enemy so relentless, so determined to fight back. And though they still had numbers on their side, they realized they were facing a foe that wasn't going to go down easily. Push them back. Hayes shouted as Earth's fleet regrouped, pressing forward with renewed vigor. The battle was far from over, but humanity had made its mark. The enemy fleet, now battered and broken, began to retreat, the once unstoppable force now scattered and disorganized. Earth's fleet, though still at risk, had proven something vital: they could stand their ground. The battle wasn't won yet, but the first clash had shown the aliens a new truth: Earth would never surrender, not without a fight. And for the first time, the alien invaders understood something they hadn't before: humanity was not to be underestimated. The tide turns. The battle raged on, but Earth's fleet had already made a statement. The alien forces, once so confident in their overwhelming numbers, were now caught off guard. They had underestimated humanity's resolve, and with each passing moment, they began to realize the mistake they had made. Earth wasn't just fighting back, they were fighting with a fury that the invaders had never seen before. But despite the devastation, Earth's fleet was far from invincible. The enemy regrouped, determined to push through, and their next move would change everything. As the alien forces reorganized, a new wave of alien ships surged forward. These weren't the massive warships from before, these were faster, smaller vessels, drones, perhaps, or scout ships designed for quick strikes. They darted through space with incredible agility, making them hard targets for Earth's massive warships. Admiral Hayes watched from the command center, her fingers tapping the edge of the table as she analyzed the situation. "They're not just retreating, they're regrouping and adapting," she muttered to herself. The aliens had realized that brute force wasn't enough to win this battle. They needed a different strategy. "Prepare the countermeasures," Hayes ordered. "We'll need to outsmart them, not just overpower them." Earth's fleet responded with precision. The warships began to form a tight defensive formation, with their weapons aimed outward in a circle, ready to strike at the alien drones. But as the drones attacked, Earth's fleet didn't fight with sheer power, they fought with strategy. The alien ships began to close in, firing their weapons in an attempt to overwhelm the defense. But at the last moment, Earth's fleet shifted course, opening fire in a surprise counterattack from the rear. The alien ships were unprepared for the sudden shift in tactics, and many of them were caught in the blast radius. Explosions lit up the dark void of space as one by one, the drones were torn apart. "Engage the secondary weapons," Hayes commanded. "Let's hit them where it hurts." The secondary weapons were something Earth had kept in reserve, a last line of defense that had never been tested in battle. These weapons were designed to disrupt the alien ships' energy systems, rendering them vulnerable to attack. The first wave of energy pulses was launched, streaking toward the alien fleet like lightning. The effect was immediate: alien ships began to lose power, their weapons flickering out as their energy grids were overloaded. The aliens were caught off guard once again. Their drones, once swift and deadly, were now powerless. Without their weapons, the smaller ships were sitting ducks, and Earth's fleet didn't hesitate to finish the job. In a series of quick, well-placed strikes, Earth's ships obliterated the alien drones. The alien fleet, now losing its advantage, tried to fall back, but it was too late. Earth's warships moved in, relentlessly pushing forward. The alien ships, now desperate, launched one final attack, a massive, coordinated strike meant to overwhelm Earth's defenses once and for all. But humanity's fleet was prepared. "Activate the pulse shields," Hayes ordered, her voice steady but urgent. The pulse shields were Earth's secret weapon, an energy barrier capable of absorbing and reflecting large-scale attacks. The moment the alien barrage hit, the pulse shields flared with a blinding light, absorbing the shockwave and sending it back in the form of devastating energy blasts. The aliens had no time to react. In seconds, their lead ships were wiped out, their structures crumbling under the force of the reflected energy. What had started as a massive alien assault quickly turned into a chaotic retreat, as the invaders realized they were fighting a battle they could not win. Earth's fleet, using tactics the aliens had never expected, pushed forward with relentless precision. The once feared alien ships, their numbers dwindling and their technology neutralized, began to scatter, each ship trying to escape the overwhelming force of humanity's fleet. The tide had turned. Humanity, once seen as insignificant and vulnerable, had proven their worth. Earth's fleet had shown not just raw strength, but brilliance in strategy. The enemy, once sure of their victory, now found themselves fleeing from a force they could no longer defeat. Admiral Hayes stood on the bridge of the Vanguard, watching as the final remnants of the alien fleet disappeared into the depths of space. The battle was far from over, but the enemy had been broken. They had been forced to retreat, their morale shattered. The galaxy would never look at Earth the same way again. "We did it," one of the officers said, his voice filled with awe. Hayes didn't smile. She didn't need to. The victory was in the results. "This is just the beginning," she replied. "Prepare for what comes next. We've shown them our power, but we're not done yet." The alien fleet had been shattered, but Earth's fight was far from over. This battle had proven one thing: humanity would not be taken lightly. And as the remnants of the alien force retreated, Earth prepared for whatever the future might bring. The galaxy would never forget the day when humanity fought back, and won. Aftermath and victory. The last of the alien fleet vanished into the deep expanse of space, their ships scattering like broken stars. For a moment, Earth's fleet held their positions in the cold silence of the void, watching as the final remnants of the enemy's force fled toward the unknown. The battle had been long, brutal, and seemingly impossible, but Earth had prevailed. Admiral Sarah Hayes stood at the center of the bridge of the Vanguard, her gaze fixed on the stars ahead. The holographic screens around her flickered with updates, confirming that the alien fleet had been decisively broken. For a brief moment, there was a collective sense of relief throughout the fleet. The enemy, once seen as an unstoppable force, had been sent into retreat. "We did it," one of the officers said quietly, the weight of the victory settling in. His voice was filled with awe, but also uncertainty. "They're gone. We actually did it." Hayes remained silent for a moment before speaking, her voice steady but resolute. "Not quite," she replied. "The war is far from over. But today we sent a message." The Vanguard, Earth's flagship, drifted in the darkness, its massive engines humming quietly in the aftermath of battle. Around it, Earth's fleet moved into a defensive formation, as if waiting for the next wave of threats to emerge. But for now, the sky was still. The battle had been won, but the cost of victory hung in the air. On Earth, celebrations began to break out across the world. News broadcasts showed images of the battle fleet, now returning to the safety of their hidden bases, each ship a symbol of humanity's unity and strength. There were cheers, tears, and an overwhelming sense of pride. The world had witnessed something extraordinary. Humanity, once thought to be insignificant in the vastness of the galaxy, had just demonstrated that no force, no matter how powerful, could simply take what they wanted from Earth. But in the quiet aftermath, the reality began to settle in. The galaxy had watched Earth's victory, but so had the alien civilizations lurking in the shadows, their eyes now turned toward the small planet. The invaders who had attempted to conquer Earth were not the only ones in the universe. Earth had made enemies today, and those enemies wouldn't soon forget the lesson they had learned. The Vanguard continued to drift in space, the enemy ships now reduced to nothing but debris. But as the fleet turned its focus back toward Earth, a message flashed across Admiral Hayes' console. It was from an unrecognized source, alien in origin, but with a message unmistakably clear. "This is not the end, Earth. We will return. Prepare yourself. The galaxy will be watching." The message sent a shiver down Hayes' spine. It wasn't a threat, it was a warning. One of the alien leaders, somehow surviving the retreat, had managed to send a final transmission. Their words weren't filled with fear or anger, they were filled with the cold certainty that the galaxy had its eyes on Earth, and Earth's victory today had only stirred the waters. Hayes clenched her fists. "So it begins," she muttered. The fleet's victory, though monumental, had come at a cost. Several ships had been heavily damaged, and many brave souls had been lost. Earth's victory wasn't without sacrifice, but the message was clear: humanity was no longer a planet to be overlooked. The galaxy had seen what Earth was capable of, and the coming days would bring both new threats and new alliances. "We've made our mark," Hayes said, turning to the officers around her. "Now, we prepare. Earth will no longer be a target for anyone." The Vanguard began its journey back toward Earth, its massive form silhouetted against the stars. Behind it, the remnants of the alien fleet drifted like forgotten wreckage, their numbers shattered by Earth's will to survive. But ahead, the unknown lay in wait. New challenges. New enemies. And the potential for a galaxy that would look at Earth with both fear and respect. Humanity had won this battle, but the war was far from over. As Earth's battle fleet returned home, the universe would remember one thing: Earth was no longer a silent world, hidden away in the darkness of space. It had arrived, and the galaxy would never forget it.